the depth chart was released yesterday. Flacco, it's exactly how I would have predicted it. Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. Not a surprise at all. And now Tyler Huntley's going to fit in here somewhere temporarily. He's the camp arm who presumably won't perform so well that he bumps somebody else off the roster, but I don't know, maybe he does. Who knows?
There's the thought of, wait, are they going to really keep 4 quarterbacks on the active roster? That's extremely odd. We know keeping 3 is extremely odd on the active roster in the NFL right now. But the Browns got 4, minus Deshaun Watson and Tyler Huntley. Okay, you unpack that a little bit more. You go, well, Kenny Pickett's kind of in the prime of his career. He wasn't in the best, most conducive quarterback spot in Pittsburgh. He was a first rounder. Most people looked at him like that coming out in the draft that year. He's still got potential. I would think they'd want to keep that guy to see if he could be something in the future. They're not going to be able to sneak Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel on waivers and put him on practice squad and get away with that, right? That's not going to happen. So my spidey senses kind of felt like Joe Flacco might be the odd guy out. But now with the injuries and Pickett not being able to practice, and then the next guy in line, which is Dylan Gabriel, him now not being able to practice, it almost forces like, hey, Joe Flacco's starting preseason game number 1, and he's getting a lot of reps, and these other guys are going to be way behind. And it's going to make this situation of how they juggle the quarterbacks when it gets time to make the 53-man roster, I think a lot more interesting and complicated maybe than they wanted it to be.
I've always believed Flacco's going to be the starter.
I know you have.
For the same reason they didn't sign him in 2024.
Right.
That's why they did sign him in 2025. It's pandering to the fans. Last year, they didn't want the fans to chime in on Joe Flacco versus Deshaun Watson because they were still determined to try to prove they didn't make a colossal blunder in giving up what they gave up for Watson.
Right.
This year, Kenny Pickett was the placeholder, and then they're like, you know what, let's just bring back Joe. And bringing back Joe means letting Joe play. I think Joe starts until they begin to crumble, and then that's when we start to see what the rookies can do. I've believed from day one, once we saw the 4 people on the depth chart, not named Deshaun Watson, that Kenny Pickett is the one who's going to be the first man out. And a normal functioning team would have gotten Pickett off the roster before camp opened. A normal team would have done that. But he's an asset, and we're going to play this chess match. Chief Strategy Officer Paul DePodesta has an idea as to how we can come up with a trade, and we're going to keep 4 quarterbacks around into week 1, even though it's probably unprecedented and idiotic to do because you've got 53 spots finite on your roster, and you're going to burn 4 of them on quarterbacks. That's the Browns. It's impossible to predict what they're going to do. You almost have to say, what would the Browns do to predict what the Browns are going to do? Because a normal team wouldn't do it. The Browns would. So whatever we think the Browns will do is what the Browns will do. So I think it's going to be Flacco. I think it's going to be Gabriel. I think it's going to be Shedeur. And then we see what happens from there. And in comes Deshaun Watson with his clean bill of health in week 6. And then they'll have somebody on the practice squad. And maybe Tyler Huntley on the practice squad because somebody else, they may try to trade Pickett for a 6th-round pick or something, and then Huntley ends up being on the practice squad. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.